Hello and welcome to my 12 Days of Christmas special here today in Raleigh. And I'm gonna talk about my month in North Carolina because I've been here for actually more than a month. I haven't really done everything every day. So it's kind of like a month here and the other month just cooped up in my room working on blog posts and videos like this one. Yay! So give me a like and thumbs up for being like busy. So I was basing myself here in Raleigh with my friend Jose. He's joining the series and we're alternating between posts of 1 month in certain places. So tomorrow you can check out his stuff. From yesterday you should check out his stuff as well. And yeah, he was super nice. Let me stay here at his place, cuddle with his pets all day long basically. And they're right now at the window. And yeah, so this was a great base. Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina, and as such there is so much to do, like all the time. I get Facebook invites for events left and right because I joined a couple of them. I went to Falling for Local, like Park Festival, I went to markets, I went to vintage markets, I went to handcraft markets, I went to certain foodie events, I went to Comic-Con. There's like so much going on here, like basically every weekend at the very least. And you can never be bored, though it's not the same pace as, for instance, New York. New York is just way too much, and if you haven't checked it out, there's a video I did about my month in New York City, part of the series. Check it out in the link below. But yeah, in Raleigh is so much more laid back. It's so much more walkable in the city center, at least, if you want to go anywhere else. For instance, where I'm staying, or if you want to go see some sites, which I have on the blog already. There's a list of guides. Check it out. Go to Yates Mall, go see like the parks and the gardens in Durham. Go see the NC State Fair, for instance, which is absolutely amazing. If you ever get to go see the North Carolina State Fair in the fall, so it's over now, it's just once a year, you should go, because it's like a gluttony fest for foodies. So much food, so many southern foods, but also with a twist. There's gigantic portions, interesting concoctions, sometimes weird combinations of sweet and savory with a lot of fried and a lot of sugar, and you know, that's what you get, and that's what is amazing about it. I like chocolate balls stuffed with amazing fudge and marshmallows. There was like campfire on a stick with like crackers and chocolate and marshmallows piled up to like this long. There were all kinds of fried cakes and ice cream cakes. Crazy. And there's also competitions about farm animals or the largest vegetables, like pumpkins that were like this big. So yeah, that was like something that I always wanted to see, like a real fair in the US. So I absolutely love doing that here in Raleigh. And then Raleigh is a really good base to just go explore North Carolina, which is what I wanted to do, which is why I came here in the first place, because I've never really been to North Carolina except for Durham. I went around the university campus, a friend showed me, and that was 4 years ago, and that was it. I had a milkshake, saw the campus, and then left. So this time around I want to see more than that, also eat more milkshakes, because yum. And so I was really happy that I got in touch with the tourism in Raleigh and the tourism in North Carolina, and they got me a ticket for Amtrak so I could do 10 rides. There's one special discount tickets where you can pay for 10 rides, and then you can go, you know, whenever you want. And that's what I did. I went to Greensboro, checked out the parks in the Bog Garden, as well as a couple of museums, and there was a Halloween festival going on which I stumbled into, and I walked around the graveyard where people were dressed up as historic characters telling their story, showing their graves, which was really interesting. And then I went to Charlotte, and it was a terribly cold day, but I somehow managed to not go into museums because they're so expensive, so you really need to map it out if you want to go to Charlotte to watch any exhibitions. Yeah, you need to put aside a certain amount of money and time because you want to make it worth it. But instead I went out and saw some murals, and I'm going to publish a guide on the blog. Keep an eye out for that. Maybe subscribe to the newsletter. I'm not that active on the newsletter. I'll try to be better. But yeah, there's so many beautiful murals, so many awesome commissioned artworks, especially in Noda, which is a district a little bit east of the city center where all of the hip cafes are. And I met a couple cool people thanks to my Couchsurfing host, and I had an absolutely great time in Charlotte. Next, I also went couchsurfing in Salisbury, and my host again was so lovely. I kind of felt like I was being adopted into the family. They drove me around, showed me the entire area, we walked to a lake, then we went to city center. I checked out the old Hull House Museum, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's just a $5 entrance fee, and I was super lucky because on that day it wasn't even colder than in Charlotte. And my host gave me a winter coat because it was so cold, I was getting sick, and she took pity on me and she was so nice to give me that, so I survived the day. And I wanted to seek refuge, so I walked around the house, beautiful, took some pictures, didn't intend to go in, when the woman inside was just like, come on in, like it's warm. And so I did, and I was like, maybe I just do the tour, it's just $5, no big deal. And then the tour group came rushing after me, and everyone was paying, and I wanted to pay, and they were like, no, don't worry about it, we got you covered. I was like, what? Why? Thanks, I'm not part of this group. And they're like, today you are. And I was like, that's so sweet. Everyone here is so friendly, so nice, and well-mannered. So I got to join this group and walk around Hull House, which is relatively small to what we're used to nowadays, but it's jam-packed with all kinds of historic material, documents, and real furniture from the beginning, basically, because it was founded in 1820 when it was a girls' academy, but that kind of failed. So soon it became a residential home. In 1870, Dr. Josephus Hall bought it, and he completely redecorated, refurnished, and repainted it to make it look like it does today, because his family heritage was totally preserved, going through the generations, mostly untouched. It's basically like a time capsule to 1870. The wallpaper is still there, the furnishings are still there, there's still the pardon he got from President Andrew Jackson because he was a doctor in the army, and yeah, that's absolutely cool to see. It's absolutely beautiful to experience. I really liked the decor. And yeah, then I walked around because there's so many old buildings. The entire historic center of Salisbury is really worth a visit, especially when it's not that cold. There's so many old homes, beautifully preserved because the local community put together money to help renovate them and give them to families who would follow guidelines to keep it as beautiful as it used to be instead of tearing it down for new buildings, which is a good effort. There's historic museums, there's modern museums, there are beautiful cemeteries. There are multiple cemeteries, and Green Hill Cemetery, for instance, is where Dr. Josephus Hall was buried. You can see his grave, and it's all super close to the train station. And from the train station, I went for a day trip to Kannapolis. Don't go to a day trip to Kannapolis unless the downtown area is finished, because right now they tore up all the roads. Half of the stores were kind of closed. There was nothing going on when I was there. And so right now is really a bad time to visit. I hope when they have done it all and did it up all nice, you should go and check it out and tell me what it is like, because at the moment only the old police station looks really nice, but it stands like on the middle of a field. That was it. So don't write off Kannapolis, but just don't go just yet. And also I went to High Point. High Point isn't exactly exciting, but there's more to see than in Kannapolis. Also, you don't need a car. I didn't have a car, but I was stubborn because I really want to see as many roadside attractions in the USA as I can, because usually they are really wacky, and I love them. And a lot of them are the biggest something in the world. Sometimes they've been dethroned. For instance, in High Point there's the largest chest of drawers. It's just 15 minutes from the train station. You can totally walk there. There's actual sidewalks. It's really massive. Check it out. So I was in High Point, did a photo, did a video. What else? I didn't do much research, but I checked out the John Coltrane statue, which is also super close to the train station. That's really interesting. You can read up on it. You know, there's an information plaque. But also, you can push some buttons and then John Coltrane will serenade you. Pretty cool. It's just very loud. It made me feel really awkward. It was like blaring down the street, me standing there pushing buttons. Maybe that's your kind of fun. But also there's some murals which you can check out. I love murals, so I totally did that. There's even a couple around the Tourist Information Center, which is a half-an-hour walk from the train station. We just go have a car to go around High Point, because there's some cool areas which you can check out, some cool historic houses and museums, but they're usually scattered around the area, not in the town. So what can you see in the town? when you just are on your feet. Well, the local information women, they were really helpful, they were really kind, gave me a lot of tips, like gave me some water, chatted a little bit with me, and they directed me to the university. It's gorgeous. They're constantly building new buildings in a more old-fashioned style to fit that, like a neoclassicist style. Grand, beautiful. And there's always statues you can take selfies with, there's benches and you can just sit there, take a photo of Ben Franklin. There's music playing everywhere. You walk around and then from some lamppost you can hear classical music as you parade through the grounds, which are well manicured, by the way. But they said that to me, and I was in a hurry to get to the train station, but I also wanted to see something else other than John Coltrane and murals and chest of drawers. So I took an Uber who dropped me off at one of the entrances, because there's multiple. I wanted to go in, and then a security woman just stepped up and she was like, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, "Oh, well, just, you know, to check out the campus and maybe take a photo or two." And she was like, "No, you cannot. You can leave now." I'm like, "Excuse me? Why?" And then she was like, "Yeah, no, photo permitted, not these types of cameras are not allowed on the campus ground." I'm like, "Okay, but I need to go to the train station, this is the shortest way and I'm on foot." She's like, "Well," she didn't care. I'm like, "Okay, thanks." And so I was just standing around. I'm like, I'm not gonna admit defeat because I know that it's publicly accessible. I can walk the grounds. And so I just put away my camera and I went to her again. I'm like, "Hey, I don't have a camera right now, I won't take photos. Can I go onto the campus?" And she was like, "Yeah, you may." And then I was like, "But can I take photos with my phone? If it's like the other camera that bothered you, what about my phone?" She was like, "Yeah, you can, but not of buildings." Okay, so I took a couple of photos of me and some statues, not buildings. But yeah, I guess that's an important information to know, that you just can walk around everywhere, you can look at everything, it's really grand, but don't take photos of the buildings. Just Google them, because they're online. But yeah, high point was just a nice afternoon. You really need a car as much as you do in anywhere really, North Carolina, which is what I found. So I've been really lucky that I've been mostly driven around, thanks to Jose, who just showed me a couple places. And yeah, next time I guess I really have to get over myself and sit behind a wheel, because I have zero experience. I do have the paper, but I lack the experience, and by now I've built up a high anxiety threshold about that. Doesn't help. So if you do get your driver's license ever, just go for it and go practice. Drive. Don't be like me. On a happier note, there's been a couple of things that were on my bucket list that I really wanted to see here in North Carolina, and one of them was Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays, but we don't celebrate it in Germany, which is sad because I love dressing up. And I want to see cute kids like asking for candy and then give it to them in a scary costume. I love this Modern Family episodes where everyone was like super scarily dressed up because Claire is so into it. That's me. But anyway, yeah, I got to dress up. I did some photo shoots as my cosplay, Sabrina from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and in cemeteries. And then we actually had kids come over for Halloween, which hasn't been the case for the past couple of years, I was told. So I was super lucky that I could give someone candy and watch them get more candy. That was super nice. And the decoration everywhere, oh, the spookiness. I loved our house, crazily decked out. And there were a couple houses in Oakwood District. We walked around, I made a little bit of a scary video thanks to a weird Instagram filter I found. And there was this particular house which is renowned because it has a giant dinosaur statue in front of it all year long. But for Halloween, it gets crazily decorated. It looks like a theme park condensed in one residential house. There's tombstones, there's skeletons, there's creepy dolls, there's clowns, there's gargoyles. Everything, everywhere, every inch is covered in Halloween scary goodness. And we went there a couple times and it just kept building up. Another thing that's really cool about Raleigh are its many museums and galleries, because they're typically free. One more thing that's on my bucket list, and which I'm going to tick off very soon, just the day before I leave basically, is having a Thanksgiving. Subscribe, like my videos so you see more of them.